Welcome to Back Issues. I'm Sal.
I'm Ethan.
I'm Ben.
Let's talk about the Tales from the Dark Multiverse. Woo! And we're going to talk just about this one. It's called Batman Knightfall. What's the conceit of this? It's what if. It's DC's
Right,
what if.
it's a what if.
People have talked about how like Elseworlds
But dark.
Yes.
Dark what if.
Well, what if was dark for a little while. Like all the Marvel had like this funny thing on their hands where they were like, hey, what if? Marvel's like, hey, here's a neat thing. What if this? You know, what if Spider-Man joined the Fantastic Four when he tried to join them the first time? Like, what about this?
Didn't it start from like fans writing in letters?
Yeah, I don't know. Essentially, it started because they saw an opportunity for money. And maybe it was fan letters. I don't know what the origins are of the what if title. But eventually, I think they realized, like halfway down the line, they were like, wait a minute. Like, some of these things that are happening in this fake alternate reality comic might be viewed as preferable to the thing that actually happened. So we need to like really hit the brakes on this title so that people don't prefer the what ifs to what's actually happening.
Right.
So eventually, and I remember this in like the 90s, they made the what if titles super dark.
See, you want this?
Yeah. They were like,
And
hey,
in the 90s, everyone's like, yes!
no, that book got canceled real fast.
Well, it's like the main characters die and stuff.
They often did anyway, you know, but it was also like, that's cool. And part of the appeal of What If is like, oh my God, I can't believe this happened. I mean,
Well, I've
or
never
I can't believe
seen
this
it
is happening.
before.
I've never seen that, but yeah, in the 90s, they were like, what if it was just, and sometimes the conceit of What If would go dark. You know, it would, because if you change this one thing and you have a halfway decent writer, it will diverge into something interesting, and it's a story, you know, and the story was written in such a way to deliver a tale for you to go, what if Huck Finn ended it a little differently, or like, you know, what if like Tale of Two Cities was different? Like no, like he didn't, because they didn't write it like that. So sometimes What If sucks because it's like, what if you change the entire direction of the narrative for a story that was written by a writer who wanted to tell that story? It would be unfulfilling.
Because that's not where it was going.
That's not where it was going.
That's not where it's designed to go.
It's supposed to go.
All I'm saying is, hear me out. What if Mrs. Havisham ended up like marrying the dude, the protagonist?
Oh my God. Well then, yeah, things would be very different. Pip would have had a much better life. The point is, in the 90s, they were like, okay, it has to be dark though. Like, it's not that sometimes it might end up dark. It's like, no, every single issue will be a downer. And it was like, oh my God. Like, I have this one where it was the Hulk, and it was just like, what if instead of him being like a... Basically, what if Bruce Banner was the monster, and like when he hulked out, it was all of his vulnerability manifested into like a big, powerful being who was like timid and shy and didn't want to like get involved. And essentially, the whole story is about how like Bruce Banner tries to kill the monster within him because he's the monster, and the monster he becomes is like his purity and goodness. And then he like gaslights Betty and becomes like this horrible, like abusive man. And then at the end of the book, it's so down. It's such a misery fest that it has like a warning about domestic abuse in it.
Jesus.
But it's like, okay, this book got really heavy.
Does she like see the Hulk and she's like telling people about it?
Yeah.
And so like
Any news reporter would just be like, eating this up.
Yeah, well, that doesn't help you. It doesn't save you from the funny farm just because like the Star Ledger wants to write your story.
No, because they'll write it like, and that's totally crazy because that obviously
Local
didn't
lunatic
happen.
has this interesting yarn to spin. There was a period when What If was dark for darkness' sake.
Right.
And I don't know why 25 years later DC's like, okay, now let's do it too. But it's straight up, let's do What If. Like, down to its core, but it's Tales from the Dark Multiverse. So and if you recall from Dark Knight's Metal, the Dark Multiverse is a multiverse where only bad shit happens.
Right.
Yeah, where you flip it over and it's all black.
Yeah, and it's all negative.
There's all stories that weren't supposed to happen and were supposed to be destroyed.
Yes,
by
they should have been destroyed by the dragon.
But they weren't.
No, and instead they just keep going. So none of these stories can have happy endings.
Right, it wouldn't be the Dark Multiverse. It would destroy the whole conceit if they did have a happy
and they don't
ending.
destroy the whole conceit. It's just like, I don't know. Part of me was like, this is a cool idea. And then the other part of me was like, yet every story is undermined because you know at the end of the story, it has to end on a down note.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the hero can never succeed.
Just a misery fest.
Yeah, and some people like that.
Yeah.
But story-wise, that's not gratifying.
No, even if you're the kind of person who likes that kind of thing, it kind of like takes the teeth out of it because you know where it's going. Like there's no uncertainty when you're reading it. You're like, well, anytime the hero starts to succeed, I know they're going to lose.
There's no risk in a way.
So that was the conceit, and they made a bunch of titles, like 5 or 6 of them.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you get to see shit that you've never seen before.
No, you get to see shit you've seen before, but
remixed.
it ends bad.
Oh.
Great. Well, yeah, because this is called Knightfall, so obviously we've seen that before.
Knightfall. It's just what if Knightfall. The story is irrelevant. We're going to talk about it, but I wanted to talk more about the fact that like Tales from the Dark Multiverse is DiDio, the former co-publisher of DC Comics, sowing the seeds of what he's going to do with the DC universe in a year or two.
Okay.
Because Dark Knight's Metal was popular, but not popular enough to springboard the Dark Matter universe, which was their attempt. DC likes to do this every couple of years, where they're like, look at all these new characters that sprung from an event, like Millennium or Invasion. Yeah. But the Dark Matter universe was like, here's a bunch of new characters. Woo! Look at this guy, Sideways. He looks like Spider-Man, but he doesn't have Spider-Man powers. He could go between dimensions. Okay.
Sideways, okay.
Sideways. You know, and the Terrifics. It's the Fantastic Four in the DC Universe. Woo! That book's still going, by the way. Dark Matter didn't work out. But
maybe it wasn't even supposed to.
Well, it was absolutely... They wouldn't have made posters if it was one of those, like, Roger Corman Fantastic Four situations where they're like, or the producers, if we make a book so unreadable that people don't want to buy it, we'll get our insurance.
Maybe it's just supposed to be what it ended up being, and it wasn't supposed to like go farther.
No, they were hoping that it was going to be like, we'll get new readers and people involved, because like, if I can't convince people to buy Wonder Woman or Batman or The Flash,
maybe they'll buy this.
Maybe they'll buy this new thing. If they're buying comics at all.
Right, and they didn't.
And they didn't, you know, that's fair. You know, sometimes you miss every shot you don't take.
Yeah.
So, out of the book Sideways, DiDio invented this character named Tempest Fugonaut. And Tempest Fugonaut.
I love how all the new characters that are coming out have Dungeons and Dragons names. Right. Like, I'm creating my character, and this is their name.
Yep.
A name that no one would ever have in real life.
Yeah. So Tempest Fugonaut in the Sideways book was kind of like he's part of a race of Fugonauts who are supposed to protect the barrier between the multiverses.
Uh-huh.
How about that?
Where were they in Dark Knight's Metal?
Not in it. Not invented yet.
But they're supposed to be guarding the
barrier.
Well,
they fucked up,
They do a bad job all the time.
Yeah. Well, so now Tempest Fugonaut is supposed to, like, monitor the barrier, the thin barrier between the Dark Multiverse and our multiverse.
Yeah.
He's the Watcher. When I say that they were like, make a what if, but DC, telegraphing the Watcher was the bookend for the What If books for a long time, where he's like, I am the Watcher.
Right.
No one makes a book about me, so I'll be the protagonist of What If, where I bookend every story and I'm like, so this is a thing you remember, but what if this happened?
I'm talking to you anyway.
Yeah.
I always just talk to you.
I'm basically the narrator for Marvel.
Yes.
So here I go.
Yes. So
that's why my head is so
said
huge.
We need one of those.
Yeah. Yeah. So we need one of those. No, you don't. But here he is.
Oh.
And he has the same bullshit monologues that the Watcher has, where he's like, my name is Tempest Fugonaut, and I protect the barriers, and you know this story, but what about this? And you're like, the Watcher has a base on the moon that he has money monitors that look at the multiverse. What's Fugonaut's excuse? Like, why is he talking to me?
He's just like magic or whatever.
Well, no, they are setting up why Fugonaut is doing this at all. He says that there's a crisis coming, perhaps the greatest crisis of all. And I can't find any useful heroes in the multiverse, perhaps there are some in the Dark Multiverse. Out of adversity, there might rise some heroes that I can use or collect that could help against the coming crisis.
My dark champions.
Yeah, so Tempest Fugonaut is like looking through all of these Tales from the Dark Multiverse stories and hoping out of all of these like dark stories there might be a hero that he can like pluck from there to aid in a story that will never come because Didio got fired and 5G's not happening anymore. So if you read these, they're going to be referring to this crisis, and it's like, crisis is coming, and he keeps talking about it in every book. He's like, that crisis though, it's going to be big.
It's coming.
And it
I guarantee it's going to happen.
Coming. No one cares. And I was talking to Scott about this because he was talking about Dark Knight's Metal 2, Death Metal.
Death Metal.
And we were talking about the Dark Multiverse, and then it was Benny the comic historian and myself who were talking to Scott Snyder, and Benny asked about this, where he's like, well, I love Tales from the Dark Multiverse and all those other stories, and he's like, yeah, man, that was cool. And I go, and what role will Tempest Fugonaut be playing in Death Metal? And you could see on his face, Scott's like, damn it.
Damn it, Sal.
Damn it. And he goes, well, aside from having a pretty awesome name,
not much.
unfortunately, Tempest Fugonaut will not be playing a role in Death Metal. And I'm like, no shit. But like, he should.
He should. He was
Because
clearly supposed
He's
to.
pretty important in these stories, one of which you wrote.
This is like at the beginning of a really bad Western where you have like the roll call and everyone's coming out and you've got like one dude on the range who's like, and I'll see you there, and you never see him again for the rest of the movie.
And then he quit the production like halfway through, and he fell off his horse. They had to send him away.
But he's in this vital scene
no
I
one
can't get rid of.
references it or
Damn it.
explains what happened to him.
Nope. No one's
They
gonna
should
ask
do
you.
a book where like Tempest Fugonaut just fucking dies.
Yes. You know what? It's not over yet. They're not done writing it. One of the issues, you could have the Batman Who Laughs.
Yeah, just like...
Or Tempest Fugonaut shows up. Like, they're all, oh no, like, what are we gonna do? The heroes are like, they're beaten, they're licking their wounds, and Tempest Fugonaut kicks in the door, and he's like, I have news! And then, like, all the Robins show up, and they just start stabbing them. So it's just...
There wasn't a crisis. I was just getting warnings about my own impending death, which to me is a crisis, but not to anybody else.
I guess
As it turns out, looking through all the Dark Multiverse, it's a really bad idea.
Yeah, it just puts a target on your back.
Shut up, shut up.
He looks complicated.
Yes, he does. He's needlessly complicated.
And look at my glove. It almost looks like an Infinity Gauntlet.
Look at Infinity Gauntlet. What the hell? It's got slots for gems.
That's super derivative.
These are my power sockets.
Well, I need to collect the Infuginated gems.
Oh my god.
Anyway, so...
No, they'd call them ingots in this dark universe.
Yeah, that's good. Write that down.
Yeah. Oh, that's good. Anyway, it's fun to see like this like slice of history that's like happening right now.
Right.
That is already
totally irrelevant.
Can't go anywhere.
Can't ever go anywhere. And like no one's... What if in the DC universe is a great idea. There's so much that I'd like to see. And that's probably why this book sold pretty well.
Yeah.
But the entire narrative structure is completely fucked.
Oh my god, look at all those freaking narrative bubbles.
Oh, yeah. So, Tempest is collecting action figures for the coming fight, which was admittedly a neat idea. That, like, when you picked up the next crisis, which isn't happening anymore, that eventually a little confederacy of, like, crazy characters from all these books were going to come together, and Tempest is going to, like, go, behold! But that's never going to happen now.
Yeah.
And, like, I don't think it'll ever happen because no one's going to, like, go, hey, what happened with Tempest Fugonaut and the Dark Crisis?
Right. Nobody cares.
Nobody cares, and, like...
It's a what-if book anyway. It's not supposed to be relevant.
That's true.
Yeah, but he's supposed to stand outside of it and be relevant.
Yes.
But...
Yeah, it'd be like if every what-if comic from Marvel opened with the Watcher being like, something big is coming.
And then it just never did.
And then it just never does. For like 30 years.
I told you something big was coming. What? Oh.
Here's a universe that looks familiar, and it's Knightfall.
Right.
So Bane's breaking Batman's back and everything.
What does the Knightfall universe mean, though?
Well,
Knightfall was one thing that happened.
It's an Earth in which this happens instead of what happened in Knightfall.
Oh.
That's it.
And what is this?
Oh, what happens is...
Well, let's find out.
Yeah, let's find out. By the way, Tales from the Dark Multiverse Batman Knightfall is written by Scott Snyder and Kyle Higgins, with art by Javier Fernandez. You see this kind of like faithful detail of like, look at that, like we recreated the whole like breaking of the bat sequence.
Yeah.
You see Azrael getting the costume from Tim Drake Robin. You see Azrael Batman using his weird light of justice that
Was
he
that a
had.
thing?
Yeah, we covered Batman 500 in one of our
all.
other shows where he like shines this like light on villains and it like makes them upset. And then
I thought it was just like blinding them.
It's just a really bright light.
It like pulls all their. It doesn't matter.
Is it magic? What?
Right. I don't remember.
It's something with
They
the
don't-
Order
they
of
don't
Saint
explain it.
Dumas.
Yeah, sure. So at the end of Knightfall, Batman comes back and he challenges Azrael in like the ruins of Wayne Manor, and then he eventually tricks Azrael. Like the idea is that he goes into the cave, and Batman is Bruce Wayne. He grew up on Wayne Manor. He knows all the tunnels and all the caves.
Right.
So he like crawls through these like little tunnels, and he knows that like because Azrael Batman built like a tank around his body, he'll never
can't
fit.
fit,
So he's
yeah.
got to take off pieces of his armor.
Right.
And eventually Batman and Azrael meet in like the small hole where Bruce fell in the first place.
And just man to man.
Yeah. Except Azrael won't take off the helmet, so he just looks like a dude in like a t-shirt with his big red stupid bat helmet. He's like, "Oh, Batman, bring it on!" And Batman's like, he knows there's a footboard built that keeps people from falling in this big hole.
Right.
And he knows that the morning is coming, and that Azrael had night vision on.
Right.
So when he loosens the board, the light pours in, it blinds Jean-Paul Valley, and and then so he has to take off the helmet.
Right.
And when he does, he sees Batman bathed in light, and he's like, "You were Batman. You were always Batman." Like it kind of like shocks him out of it.
Because he has a thing about light or something.
Whatever. Like it's metaphorical. But so that's the ending of Knightfall. In this, instead of that, Azrael just like stabs Batman.
Oh.
Like Batman doesn't get to the crawl space or whatever. They pay such close attention to some detail, and then they went like, They even recreate an actual panel from that issue.
Wow.
And then it's like, oh, but he just wins anyway. Like it's just, And then he stabs him. You know he's got knives on his
somehow.
hand.
He stabs him in the back.
Yeah.
Yes, he re-breaks
Through the back.
He re-breaks Batman's back.
Right. Oof.
And like stabs him through the entire body. So my
Yeah.
guess is he dies. He doesn't really die. He just hurts really bad.
Wow.
There's no
How
way
does he
anyone could survive that.
Well, he kind of doesn't. So Azrael's like, John Paul Valley's like, I'm the Batman that Gotham needs, and I'm going to show you. So then we cut to 30 years later.
Oh.
Because Kyle Higgins doesn't want to tell you Knightfall again.
Right.
Like, Snyder and Higgins worked together, but I was reading an interview with Higgins, and he was just like, I was not interested in doing What If. Like, I like the idea of seeing the world that comes out of the diversion, as opposed to just being like,
But I want to go through the mechanics of how we get there.
yeah, I don't want to see Tim Drake being like, no, what? Like, no, we're skipping.
Right, skipping all that.
He skips ahead 30 years.
Yeah.
And we see like a little kind of montage. It's literally 2 panels of like this idea that essentially Jean-Paul's like, we need a purging fire. So he like burns Gotham and then uses Wayne's billions to kind of like rebuild Gotham in the image that Jean-Paul thinks Gotham needs to go in.
Right.
And so we see
Yikes.
new Gotham, and he burns Gotham, he breaks all the bridges, and essentially severs Gotham from the rest of the world.
Oh.
We see this new Gotham, and it looks like a ruined city, but I guess there's
it's
still
new?
infrastructure and stuff. It's new, to them because he rebuilt it.
Right. But he built it ruined.
Yeah.
Or crappy.
Yeah, he's not a city planner.
He's not an architect.
But yeah. So Jean-Paul has taken over the mantle of Batman, and he's in charge, and he like literally rebuilt Gotham in his image. So this is the world that we're living in now.
Right.
And, you know, Jean-Paul likes Wayne Manor, so he stays there, renames it to the Dumas House. And I guess within his 30 years, also, like, meets somebody, gets married.
Oh.
And she becomes his Alfred.
Did not see that coming. Okay.
No, it's very weird. But Jean-Paul is Batman. He's still Batman. He's still doing his thing. He is no longer Batman, though. He's the Saint Batman.
Yeah. Saint Batman.
Right.
Okay.
And because he's the reckoning that Gotham needs.
Sure.
Oh.
So Madeline has given Jean-Paul the rundown of what's going on. Apparently there was like this spy who was working with Cobblepot. That's right. Penguin's still alive.
Why didn't he just kill Penguin?
Right, because...
Well, how can you have a Saint Batman if you don't have no demons to defeat?
Well, I assume there would be new ones.
Well, no, he doesn't... They don't need to have a rogues gallery because it's only one story, and so we could get away with killing everybody. But Cobblepot was kind of like, you know, a mover and shaker. You know, he was like an underworld kind of like guy.
Yeah.
You know, he had weapons and funds and money, and you know.
Yeah.
So
he somehow
he kind of like had like an in with Azrael in terms of like
you think he collaborated with Azrael
a little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
Like where did he get all his wonderful tech?
Well, probably in terms of when he was rebuilding Gotham, he needed resources from the outside, especially when he decided to sever Gotham from the rest of the world anyway.
Right.
So Cobblepot was just like a union man. He's just like, you can't fire me.
Yeah.
I'm tied in with the unions.
Like what? What union? The Arkham Union?
Maybe he used.
You want to rebuild? You got to use my men.
maybe he used him because he's like, I don't know how to run a city, but you run crime or are integral to it. So like, if I can just control you.
Yeah. So Madeline tells him about the dissident and Cobblepot, and he's like, well, I'll send my acolytes to go deal with it. He has two people. He's got the Torchbearer and the Cardinal. And those two characters, and it's not like he brainwashed Dick Grayson or, you know, like...
Right, they're just random people.
You know, Tim Drake's a cyborg. Like, no. It's just,
no, they're friggin' dead.
Yeah, probably. And so he sends the...
Does he have like a bishop and like an altar boy?
Almost certainly. We only see the two.
Okay.
I am the censor bearer.
Yeah. So he sends those two because he's got a very important date, because today is a very special day. And Madeline's like, oh, that's right, I forgot. But please, enjoy your day.
The day he broke Batman's...
Yeah, it's the day he broke Batman. So he's got to go. And so he dons his Saint Batman uniform, puts on his helmet, and then hooks up his venom tubes and gets the strength he needs to continue the fight. That's right.
How ironic.
Yup. So
fair, though.
Yeah. So Jean-Paul goes to Wayne Tower, and he's talking to Batman, Bruce Wayne.
Right, he's like haunted by him or some shit.
And he's like, it's the end of the third Sunday during the last summer month, which is a reminder of our last time together. Come on, man. You gotta admit, I did a good job.
Look what I did.
Look what I've done. Come on, man.
I was right.
Just tell me I did it. And then the reveal is that Bruce Wayne is still alive, but he's like a horrible Cenobite-esque cyborg.
Oh my
kept alive
God.
through tubes. He's just a torso and a head.
Yeah, he's almost RoboCop.
Yes.
Jesus.
Does he become RoboCop? Does he get out of this?
He doesn't become RoboCop. It's not like there's a company like they like all the Robins come together and they defeat Jean-Paul and then they free Bruce Wayne and like
they put him in a suit.
They put him in a suit. He's Robo-Batman. No.
Robatman.
Robatman? No, we don't get Robatman.
Ah, damn.
So he's just like, come on, man.
Oh, does he run the city?
No.
Oh!
No, it's not like he's plugged in and
no,
he's like...
Azrael would have to be incompetent for that.
He is incompetent.
Somehow he's tied himself in and he's controlling everything under my nose.
Oh, no.
Not that. Like, it's
like
the fact that Azrael needed Batman to run the city.
Why would Batman do that?
Right.
Because he's got no choice. He loves the city so much.
I'm the head.
What are you gonna do, man?
Yeah, what are you gonna do?
You could either run it for me or I'll ruin it. I guess he could coerce him that way.
Right, and he's like, okay, so I run all the traffic lights.
But no.
I filter the water. No, he's just a head.
He's just there. It
and
must be very boring for him.
It's very boring, I'm sure. And it's been 30 years.
Yeah.
In a world of drones, no one has ever seen this.
Well, I'm sure Azrael shoots down the drones as soon as they launch.
Remember, it's only so many pages. So
it's a dictatorship. You can't just do whatever you want there.
Well, and we're only showing you, because it's a short story and it is only like this snapshot. We're only showing you the things you care to see.
Yeah.
You know, like, look at that. Who cares? Why didn't Superman come in and kick his ass? Oh, right, because he died.
Oh shit.
Remember? 1993.
Right, and then he never woke up.
Or he did and was like...
Or Azrael, like, somehow prevented him from coming.
They reference Superman in the interview, but not in this book. Where they're like, you know, what happened to Superman? Why didn't he come in? And it's like, well, he died before the breaking of the bat, so, you know, we could just say he didn't come back. I don't know.
Well, like, if Bruce doesn't go to wake him up and discover he's not there...
And Bruce never has anything to do with Superman's resurrection. So, basically, Azrael has kept Bruce Wayne alive long enough just to be like, you need to see what I've done so that one day you'll admit that I'm a better Batman than you and I've done a good job. And he's like, no.
Do you see?
Literally that. He's like, look at you. You got like tubes. You know, you're basically like a puppet. Like you're just kept alive through venom and just sheer force of insanity.
Yeah, you did that. What?
Yeah, I did, and then I broke it. Like, you know, I conquered it. I did it for like maybe a month.
I took myself off the venom.
Yeah. So he goes, all right, well, I'll see you next year. And then we see what the Cardinal and the Torchbearer do with dissidents, and you know, here they are, and they look ridiculous, and you know, and Cobblepot's like, hey, I don't know this guy. Listen, we can work this out. We'd always been able to work this out, and they just cut his head off.
Oh, jeez.
The Penguin?
Yeah.
Damn.
That's it for the Penguin.
That's it.
It's a very major story in the dark universe that we're in.
Yeah.
But it only takes a page.
Yeah, the killing of the Penguin.
Yeah. Oh no, Penguin's dead. 30 years after he was relevant. So,
is anyone else alive? No, they're all dead too.
Right. We don't reference the Joker, the Riddler. Nobody.
Right.
So, they revel in their success. There's a couple of like passerby or people in Gotham who watch the Torchbearer and the Cardinal work.
GCPD.
Yeah. And they're like, woo, we did it for Gotham.
Not NGCPD.
No, it's just GC. They're not making new shirts. So, you know, but it's clearly set up to be kind of like a theocracy.
Right.
Like it's the national religion of New Gotham is the Order of Saint Dumas. You know, it's all run by the Saint Batman. It's very like, you know, it's a dictatorship and a theocracy where they're just like, you have to believe in this dopey, ridiculous religion, and
if not, we'll just kill you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So while they're celebrating, a couple of bombs go off all over Gotham. And so that catches the attention of Jean-Paul, who hours later, that's when it happens. He wakes up, Madeline's like, you know, a bunch of shit happened. Like a bunch of explosives went off and like people are dead. And like, you know, we got to go to work. And the Torchbearer's like, yeah, it's a coup. Like things are happening.
Oh, shit.
They hit strategic locations all across the city. And so he goes, okay, I got to get in there. And so he like opens up this drawer where he keeps his like new venom supply.
Yeah.
And so while the attacks are going on, a new character, makes their way across the river and ends up on the shores of Gotham. And this new character is brand new character, fun idea. So meet Torn. And he's fun.
Yeah, it looks like he's he can jump. He's spry.
He is
See
spry.
Him leaping over a thing.
Yeah, well he
is he superpowered? Or
he is superpowered.
Oh, okay.
He makes a point of saying like, you know, it's easier to swim the river than we trained. And the person at the other end is like, don't get cocky. So he springs into action, and he infiltrates Wayne Tower. He kicks the shit out of all of the like people there to, you know, the guards.
The guards, yeah.
And so he faces Bruce Wayne, and Bruce Wayne's like, who the hell are you? And he's like, look at you, man. Oh my God.
He's almost like this weird mix
Yeah.
of Red Hood and Talia al Ghul.
Yeah, it is kind of like those visuals. I'm Torn. I'm here to liberate Gotham. My squad is ready to go. And he's like, well, you're not going to win. And he goes, well, we'll see. Like, I got to free you first. Come on.
I'm not going to be freed by someone named Torn.
Yeah. He's connected to tubes and crap. You got to take all those tubes with you?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
You disconnect one tube, I am dead.
Yeah. So Torn alludes to who his father is.
Okay.
And then just like and so he dons his hood, he raises up his mask, and then he grows into a huge hulking Bane-esque character, and then just beats the crap out of all the like incoming guards.
Okay.
So is Dad's Bane?
Yes. Torn is son of Bane. And that we get one line where he's like, I guess he just took too much venom and it like altered his genetic code or whatever because like, I have Bane powers.
I don't want to see that visual.
I have Bane powers.
Like,
Bane didn't have powers. He took venom. That was his thing.
Yeah, but you know how like
yeah, but if you, I guess if you just do it in a certain way, you just never need to again, and you can Hulk out whenever you want.
you know how babies can be born with like alcohol fetal syndrome?
Yes.
And shit like that? Like, he's born with like Venom syndrome.
Yeah.
Oh. It's in his system.
Well,
It's always part of that.
Venom's made up, so it could do anything. Like, we know what effects certain real things have on babies.
Right.
But this made-up drug thing could have magic properties.
Okay.
Doesn't matter. Right. Like I said, one line. So then Torn whips out a knife and he's just severing cables and tubes and and Bruce Wayne is not concerned about this. He's not like, those two, that's my waist tube.
Well, he probably wants to die, right?
Oh, don't cut that.
He is not like, yes, they'll throw me over the side. He's just like, he goes, what makes you think that you're gonna win? And he goes like, and he's like, well, you're part of the plan. Like, you're gonna have to save Gotham. And he's like, I don't know if you noticed lately, but like, I'm a torso. And he goes, don't worry, we've got a plan for that.
Oh.
The dissidents are attacking what used to be City Hall, is now called the Cathedral, and they're like rallying their people, and then the Torchbearer, the Cardinal, and Saint Batman arrive.
Right.
And they make quick work of everybody. And while Saint Batman is like on the scene, by the way, fun costume.
Yeah, he looks cool.
Good blend of like Azrael and Batman, but like, you know, he did that throughout Knightfall and Nightquest and Knight's End, but now we got like 30 years of that shit.
Right, but he doesn't get like the crazy robotic, like, I'm a mech suit kind of Batman.
No, this
is very much a night cathedral-esque Batman.
I really like that that visual. Plus they're
he's like Crusader Batman.
Yes, yes. So as he's like tearing into these people, that crazy voice in his head is like, you suck, you're never gonna do it. You're not Batman. You betrayed the Order of Saint Dumas.
Oh boy.
And you're gonna fail, because that's what Batmans do. And he's like, no, I'm not gonna fail. And he, like, you know, he gets weaker because he's like just supported by Venom. And so he collapses.
Oh jeez.
You know, and the Cardinal's like, oh, Master, come on, let's go. And he's like, no, I got work to do. Ka-chunk. Gets all big again. He's like, okay, I'm back. So Torn is carrying Bruce on his back through the sewers. Which can't be good for Bruce.
No.
A lot of open wounds. Anyway, so they're going through the sewers, and he's like, so, did you ever meet him? And Torn's like, oh, you mean Saint Batman? He goes, no, your father. And then we flash back to Saint Batman killing Bane.
Right.
And Bane's son, Torn, as a little boy, like, watching it happen.
Right.
And he's like, yeah. According to Torn, the reason why Batman is a torso is because for 30 years, every year, John Paul would visit Bruce in Wayne Tower and would take off a limb or a piece of him every time that he like refused to acknowledge that he's Batman.
Right.
Gross.
Yeah. So I guess he started with fingers because like there's only so much.
Yeah, 30 years is a lot.
Yeah. So then Lady Shiva arrives. And Lady Shiva's cool. She's a like highly trained assassin. She was thought to be, during the Death in the Family story, possibly Jason Todd's mother. She's not. And she also helped to retrain Batman during Knightfall after his back was broken. She helped him kind of like come back and be able to use his limbs again.
Okay.
So she married Bane.
Ah.
And she's Torn's mother.
Okay.
So she trained Batman before in Knightfall to
in the real world.
His body.
Yes.
So now she's going to train him to use what?
Right, because he has no body. So yeah, it is kind of like a parallel. And it is kind of paralleling Knightfall in terms of, in Knightfall, the real Knightfall, Batman Bruce Wayne was kind of at his weakest point. He had already been like put through the ringer, and then Bane struck. Like, that was kind of part of Bane's plan, is to put him through the gauntlet.
Yeah.
Jean Paul Batman is kind of at his weakest point, and he's put through the gauntlet throughout the story so that they can strike. So it's like, yeah, it kind of parallels itself.
Okay.
It's a neat idea. I'm like, oh, like I read it the first time, I'm like, that was a cool story. Who cares? And rereading it, I'm like, oh, I see. You actually did like kind of make it structurally the same thing. Like the reason why it's called Batman Knightfall is because it is about Nightfall.
Right.
Like, it is Nightfall again for this Batman.
Right. It's this Batman's fall.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he is a literal knight.
Yeah.
In this case.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Like, yeah, that's clever. All right.
Cool.
All right.
Yeah.
Snyder and Higgins, good job. So, you know, Torn is ready. He's like, come on, we got the people up there. We're ready to go. We got Batman. Like, let's go. And she was like, whoa, like, ease up.
Yeah.
You have, like...
He can't walk.
A third of Batman.
Yeah.
Give me a minute.
Like, it's Batman and the son of your greatest enemy working together. Like, we can't lose. And he's like, yeah, well, how am I going to get fixed? And Shiva reveals this, like, special technology of nanobats.
Ah. I knew it was going to be nano something.
It has to be nanobats. Not nanobots.
Nanobats. So if you look at them at a microscopic level, they look like bats?
Yeah.
What the hell?
They don't explain where it comes from.
Well, nanobots, you see, are so small they have to crawl and everything, but these can fly.
That's right. And so she's like, the only question is, are you ready to be the Batman that Gotham needs?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. If you have this nanobat technology...
Right. Why didn't they use it?
Why aren't you using it on the city? Just, like, release the nanobats and have them infect, like,
no,
you know,
all they do is give you artificial arms and legs.
I guess they need to have some kind of... It's not like you whisper into their ears and tell them, like, fix the city or, like, kill Bane or whatever, you know, kill Saint Batman.
Yeah, just give him an aneurysm.
Yeah, like, just go into his body and kill him. I think it's like they have to be... There's 2 panels that explain what this is, and they don't. There needs to be human interface. It needs to be that, like, maybe it's only coded to his genetic sequence. Like, who the fuck cares?
You know what would be better? Instead of this nanobat stuff, you just put Batman's remains in the robo-dinosaur, and he just controls the robot dinosaur and kicks ass in Gotham.
You mean like what they already did in Death Metal?
What?
That's the B-Rex.
That's B-Rex?
Yeah, B-Rex is that in another dark universe, Batman uploads his consciousness into the robot dinosaur.
I feel dirty for thinking of that
when he roars, you can see Batman's like bat eyes in his mouth.
Oh, he's in there?
Like he's in there, but he is it.
Well,
that's a real thing. That's not in this imaginary continuity.
Right, that's in the
real continuity.
Well, but it did come from a dark universe, which this is also. So
yes,
same thing.
Right,
yeah.
but he's interacting with the real world.
He's in a main series comic.
Yes, he
unlike
is.
this.
Yeah, he's part of a new league of crazy alternate Batman.
Guitar riff.
Sweet. Who's awesome to draw.
Yeah, and it is.
Yeah.
Admittedly, it looks cool. Capullo does a good job. He wanted to draw a T-Rex, he did. And it's like Batman themed. Is it worse or better than the Batum? Not Adam. Batum. After the attacks from these dissidents, part of the city, the support structures that were in place, were damaged, and so the city is literally like sinking into the sea.
Is
like Venice?
Is that because of climate change? They needed some kind of system to hold it up?
They don't. It's just that, like, maybe when Azrael like separated the city from the mainland, like it's not like a floating island.
Yeah, because islands don't float.
Mm-hmm. Basically, there's one huge support beam that keeps this area of Gotham up under the water, and so.
Oh my God! If it was like built on the crushed remains of all of Batman's villains and their like resources and technology and all that kind of stuff, that'd be kind of cool.
Well, I don't understand though. Gotham existed without this before.
Yes.
Why does it need it now?
Well, because it was damaged. Like the idea is like maybe it was always there, but like it was damaged in these like terrorist attacks, and so the city's
Gotham was always held up by like a structure.
Well, no, there was always
land.
No, no, it wasn't. But it is in this.
But you're saying they separated.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, you just severed the bridges and stuff.
Yeah, but maybe they also like blew up whole chunks of land
and like moved the island.
There's only like 28 pages
of
the story.
You can't move an island. An island is land.
Well, you can move it if you separate it from its base.
In the story.
No, you can't. What? Or you mean like dig underneath the land and make it into an island?
And then build a pylon underneath.
Why would you do that?
I guess to have more
Why wouldn't you just
over
raise
it?
the structures and rebuild new ones?
Right.
Why would you...
So then we can have the scene where Saint Batman goes under the water.
Yeah.
And like Saint Dumas shows up and he's like, "You're a failure. You're gonna fail. Here's where you die. You're gonna lose. You're an idiot."
Does Saint Dumas actually show up?
No, he never shows up. I mean, like,
is it a vision?
It's a vision because Jean Paul's been besieged by visions of Saint Dumas for years.
Okay.
I like all the wreckage under here. That's the only cool thing.
The art's great in the story, by the way. It's like really cool looking.
Is that like this is what would be in Gotham's water?
Yeah, exactly.
Gross.
So basically, Jean Paul just like pushes the beam
with his venom.
Yeah. That's it.
To do
does
what?
He have enough venom
to keep Gotham from sinking?
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, he does.
Well, to do it? No. Yeah. Well, we saw the drawer. There's like 12
there's a lot
files in there.
Yeah.
I do like the narration though from Saint Dumas while he's like pushing it up, where it's like, "You will always be another man's placeholder." Like, well, you were a shitty Azrael, and you're a shitty Batman.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
And I love that. Like it's just like but it's also of course it's his insecurities, coming to bear.
I like that throughout Azrael's entire career, Saint Dumas has always been like, "You're a hack.
You suck. You're
it's like
a loser.
He's the audience. He's the comment section.
You're never gonna make it, Azrael.
Fake. Why don't you just give up now?
Hey, it's been our 10-year anniversary. You still suck.
Been sucking it up for 10 years.
You've abandoned the true order of Saint Dumas, and you're a waste of space.
You named Wayne Manor after us. Cool. Bravo.
And you beat Batman, and so you just became him? You couldn't make up your own thing. You got to just be another.
Or you couldn't
gotta
use
be
our
some
thing?
other person's thing.
Lame. You amalgamed the thing we are with this thing that doesn't matter, that you beat really easily. Who cares? Weak.
Yeah, why are you doing that? You're parading around in that ridiculous bat costume.
So anyway, they, his acolytes like pick him up out of the water and save him, and
All right, so he saves Gotham.
He saves
the
city.
He saves the city, and they're like, we're working on it. There's a war in Gotham against these usurpers, but you go home, you get rest. The fighting can continue. You'll get your strength back. And he's like, no.
You go talk to Madeline.
Right. He's like, I can't stop. I just need another boost.
Yeah.
So they take him to Dumas' house. And, he's like, come on.
Cousin to Dumas.
And he's like, yeah. Exactly. So he's like, come on.
Manor.
He's like, Madeline, where are you? You got to give me my venom. And she's not answering. And he opens up the drawer for his venom, and it's empty.
It's all gone. Oh, boy.
And Torn's like, you missed something? And so Torn
just holding Madeline's head.
No, that would be Dark Multiverse.
Dark.
No, instead it's actually a little more sad because he's like, Torn and Shiva are standing there and they're like, let's go, and he's like, how did you even get in here? And Madeline's like, it was me.
I betrayed you.
I loved you, but you've let yourself fall apart. Like you're obsessed with Bruce Wayne, and you want to be this thing, and you're an addict for the venom, and I can't live with myself. And he's like, okay. So then the acolytes kill her.
Yeah.
Oh.
She should have just run away.
Yeah.
Wow. It's not even Azrael that does it.
No. So then Torn gets big. And Shiva's like, okay, let's fight.
That'd be another great scene for him to like rip his hand through someone's chest.
Another one, yeah. Because we've seen it twice now.
This is my move.
I go through your back. I'm the Shadowhawk of the DC universe. So they're all ready to fight. The Torchbearer and the Cardinal are like, you're so stupid. You're so dumb to have come here alone. And then Batman appears in the rafters, and he's like, they're not alone. They have me.
Oh.
And you're like, oh, Batman's at full whatever. New Batman.
Yeah.
And Azrael's like, no!
And his entire suit is made of nanobats.
And so they're ready to fight. And then Shiva just like sets off a bomb within the manor, which hits Jean Paul. And then Torn like grabs him. And Jean Paul hits him with like an anti-venom piece of technology, which like...
Shrinks him?
Yeah, shrinks him. So then they fight, and Batman faces off against, the two idiots.
Yeah.
And he just just flies like a flock of bats, like through them. He's just wrecking them.
Oh my God.
And he carries one of them like out, and the other one like follows suit, and they go outside.
Batman is almost a vampire.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he's like scaring them and tormenting them, but he's more or less like giving you his new lease on life, where he's like, you know, your saint talked about how I needed to have stronger codes. Like, he had stronger codes than mine. Mine were more malleable. My codes of honor, my codes of not killing, and he had like different kind of codes that were set by Saint Dumas for him. And like, you know what? After everything I've done and everything I've been through, like, I think I finally do have a set of codes. You know, these nanobots that when they fly through people, when they kill people, they absorb a little genetic profile of everyone they touch. So it's not really killing you. It's more like you'll be living through me from now on. So his nanobats like distract one as he slashes and beheads the other. And then
yikes.
Oh, look, you took out the torchbearer.
Yeah. And then a flock of bats from Batman himself like distract the other guy, and he falls, you know, like to his death.
Right. And now
like
Batman
that
doesn't save him.
Yeah.
Weird Jason Cardinal has Wolverine claws.
Yeah.
And I mean Jason like Jason Voorhees for that mask,
I see.
not
Yes.
Jason Todd.
No, yeah, that's true. So Shiva's fighting Jean-Paul, and she's kicking the shit out of him, and she's making fun of him. She's talking about how he's an addict.
Yeah.
Like, you look at you. Like, all I need is another jolt. Like, come on.
Right.
And so she's just kicking the shit out of him. And then the body of the dude like lands next to him. She's like, "Dah!" And then Jean-Paul's like, "Oh ho!" So he kicks
A distraction.
her. Yeah.
Yeah.
So he knocks her, and then he grabs Torn's arm and he rips it out of its socket, and then he drinks the blood out of its stump. And there is venom in there, and he's like, "There we go." And he like gets a little bit of a juice from his like naturally occurring venom.
Wait, what happened to Torn? How did he get knocked out?
Oh,
it was that
I think it was
anti-venom
yeah, it was the
thing.
anti-venom technology that he slapped on his temple.
Oh. Okay.
Which should
No, it was just
counteract the blood.
well, it's still his blood though. By the way, when he takes the stump, he throws Torn across the room, and Torn smashes through some of these trophies. In those trophy cases the Batman keeps.
Yeah.
But of course, it's been 30 years, so these are Jean-Paul's trophy cases. So it's,
Oh yeah, I got rid of those Robin suits.
oh,
they
yeah,
were
no.
depressing.
I replaced them with old Azrael costumes.
Oh.
So he's drinking Torn's stump,
Yeah.
and he's getting his venom jolt.
Yeah.
And then he uses it to kick the shit out of Shiva.
Yeah.
You know, he's kicking her, and then Nano Batman shows up, and he's like, "It's over. Stop. Look at I can't be stopped."
Right. I'm made of nanobats.
Yeah. So he's flying around, he's getting them, and Torn grabs a discarded glove from the original Azrael suit. You know, the one that like looks like a lacrosse glove that has like the knife in it that shoots fire?
Yeah,
So
that weird thing.
Yeah, and so he ignites it and he like fuses his stump, you know, so he doesn't bleed out.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then Jean-Paul grabs Nano Batman and for some reason is able to hold him, I guess because he is still a torso and head.
Right.
No, it doesn't mean
This fight is a mess.
it's a complete mess. It just falls. They were like, "Oh shit, we spent 28 pages building up this world and we gotta wrap it up." So, you know, Jean-Paul's got Nano Batman.
Yeah.
And I guess, like, as Bruce is trying to constitute himself, like, nanobats are, like, flying into Shiva, so she's being attacked.
Oh, because she's in the way
Yeah, I
of them
guess.
returning to him?
It's really unclear. So then Nano Batman activates, like, a kind of, like, electronic system within him, like a kind of, like, defense system.
Yeah.
Which blasts Jean-Paul off of him.
Okay.
So then Jean-Paul picks up the giant penny.
Oh, the giant penny's still there.
Yeah. But it's so big, you can't get it out of there. So he picks it up.
Yeah. Because it's the venom.
Because he's all baned out.
Because he drank the venom blood.
The venom blood. And so he like throws it at Nano Batman and Shiva.
Oh.
And that like knocks them aside, doesn't squish them.
Right, I guess the nanobats maybe
Yeah, deflected it a little bit.
Just enough.
Yeah.
Hold it up.
No. So Jean-Paul, you know, he has to pick up another thing over his head in a dramatic fashion so that, you know, Torn can stab him through the chest with his own Azrael glove.
Oh.
And so he stabs Jean-Paul through the chest with the with the flaming Azrael glove.
Yeah, right through his crest.
Then picks up Jean-Paul and snaps him over his knee.
Yeah.
And he's like,
And
it's
then
over.
cuts off his head.
Yeah. And then pees down his neck.
And then takes his head and puts it on a robot torso and keeps him alive.
Yeah.
Just keep
We
the
did
cycle
the whole
going.
thing.
That's right. So he's like, there, like we did it.
So you're saying that Torn is the Batman we need?
Right. No. He doesn't do anything Batman-y at all. But he's like, come on, Mom, we did it. He's like, now we can like open the city back and we can connect it back to the world. And Batman shows up and he's like, the world's broken. Gotham's the only thing that's working.
What?
I learned in my 30 years of torture and torment and breaking that, like, the only thing that does work is Gotham, and the Gotham is the light. And
are you telling me that at the end,
we're not connecting it to the rest of the world? You finally made me the Batman that I need to be. And then he uses his nanobots and just shreds Torn and Shiva into ribbons. And then he walks over to Jean-Paul and he's like, for 30 years you just tormented me and tortured me and ripped me apart and told me that I wasn't the Batman that Gotham needs. Well, you were right. Congratulations. You taught me that I could be the Batman that Gotham needs. I am, and now, thanks to these dead idiots, I can never die. And I can always be Gotham. Gotham can be mine forever. What? And so he strings up Azrael's body and, like, puts him over an overpass attached to a Batman symbol and just stands there before the citizens of Gotham as its new ruler, Batman the Broken.
The Broken. Okay.
And Tempest Fugonaut, don't forget Tempest Fugonaut is like...
I forgot that you told me that this can't have a happy ending.
Right. That's the thing is about these books.
It like, really got me in for a minute.
When it's really well written, you're like, this is really cool. And you're like, oh, shit. Because, like, literally you get the scene where, like, the second Torn turns to his mom and he's like, we did it. We won. Now we can do all the things that,
No. You gotta get ripped apart by bats.
Well,
I had a feeling as soon as Bruce killed those people, I was like, oh no.
But
this is not going to go well.
He didn't kill them.
Well, he tricked them into killing themselves, and one of them he did directly kill by distracting him off the building.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, yeah. He killed those guys.
Yeah. So
maybe after he distracts one guy into beheading, he was just like, oh, that's it, I've killed somebody.
Yeah.
I'm going to kill everyone now.
All right.
Yeah, that's what happened.
That's what happened with Batman. So Tempest Fugonaut is like, oh, there's no hero in this world.
Oh, never mind.
Oh, okay. Well, let me go to the next one.
It's the Dark Multiverse.
Well, that's the thing is it's like almost a futile quest where he's like, do I dare hope
that one
in
of these
this world
shitty worlds
without hope? Yeah.
I love that Tempest Fugonaut is watching all of this, being like, yes, and then he's gonna, oh,
right. Oh, I'm in the Dark Multiverse. What am I doing?
Shit. Never mind. Let's abandon this world.
Yeah.
Well, on to the next.
Okay, let's go to Death of Superman. Which is literally just like, hey, what if Death of Superman? There's a bunch of these. There's like,
what if he didn't come back?
No.
What if he came back wrong?
No. It's I couldn't have guessed what they were gonna do with it. It was pretty ridiculous.
Are they just doing like a greatest hits of the 90s? Like, is there gonna be like a what if Coast City?
Right. No, they didn't do that. They should have. They should have done what if like Emerald Dawn or Emerald Knights. I don't remember what the fuck that was called. Doesn't matter. But like they did.
I mean, Hal Jordan pretty much did that himself when he's wearing all those rings.
Yeah, he already did the dark version.
Right. Yeah. What is it? That like
what's darker?
There is no Kyle Rayner. I guess that would be what it is.
Yeah.
But so there's Tales of the Dark Multiverse, Knightfall, Death of Superman, Blackest Night, the Judas Contract.
What does Wonder Woman get?
Nothing. I hope this episode does well so we can do them all. Because like they're pretty big. We did that Secret Wars ripoff Civil War story, and that did okay. So it looks like the algorithm's in our favor. So maybe we can get away with it. But like, these are fun. I can't wait to get to Blackest Night.
Yeah.
Because you won't see it coming. Like what the thing is. Like what? Like what? Come on.
You're really building this up. I like it.
Yeah. Death of Superman, again, I couldn't have seen it coming. I was like, what? Okay.
I didn't see this coming.
No. And that's the thing, is like, it's not just, because what if back in the day was practically like a new artist and writer showcase for Marvel. Where they're like, so we want to hire somebody, want to see if they can actually put out like a book. Put them on that book, because who gives a shit?
You give them a what if, it doesn't matter.
Yeah. This is like, let's get some of our top creators and put them on these ridiculous things.
Yeah.
It looks cool.
It looks great. Yeah, the art's
like
really good in the story.
The book looks really good.
It's well written. Higgins and Snyder did an excellent job with this. I really love the art. I also love, there's some stuff I didn't really get to. Like, there's a funny moment where Tempest Fugonaut talks about like how the Dark Multiverse is a place where things should not have happened, and they just cut to the Batman who laughs. I'm like, thank you. By the way, I will say, Snyder is very aware that they've overused the Batman Who Laughs to the point where in the first issue of Death Metal, the Batman Who Laughs looks at the camera and says, I know what you're thinking. Oh, geez, it's this guy again. Like, and it's one of those angles where it's like he's talking to someone in the book, but like he's talking to you.
Right.
And he's like, yeah, I know. You're sick of me. But the story's pretty cool, and I have a rad new design.
So, like, cool your jets.
Yeah, get over it. You know what? I print money. So, fun idea. I love like, people talk about this, and I'm sure you're going to hear it in the future where people are like, oh my God, you read Tales from Dark Multiverse? So cool. I'm like, yeah, read the first part with Tempest Fugonaut and the greatest crisis ever that's never coming. Oh, and the conceit of the entire series, which is that Tempest is trying to collect a bunch of fun action figures. They're going to fight in a story that's never coming. Like, which is definitely not what this is anymore.
I mean, while this is happening before Didio got fired,
yes,
they could continue.
They could do it. It's in the link in the description below this video. Grab it. I think it's worth it. These are fun stories, and forget about Tempest. Just read the stories for what they are. They're really cool. Oh, Infinite Crisis was the other one.
Infinite Crisis?
Yeah, and
oh
I love it.
God.
Knightfall and Death of Superman. Infinite Crisis. That one's fun too.
How does Infinite Crisis work?
I know.
There's already multiverse.
Crisis, the multiverse. Yeah.
Yeah, because you never touched on the Dark Multiverse.
So there's a Dark Crisis.
Yeah.
As well.
Yeah, because
the Dark Universe has its own crisis, but it's like one of the Dark universes. There's a crisis.
Yeah, right.
But the crisis crosses multiple universes.
Well, but we didn't invent the Dark Multiverse until after that.
All right.
So yeah.
They could have their own thing.
Well, here's the thing. In Death Metal, Wonder Woman's plan for saving the multiverse, because it's being destroyed by Perpetua, is to go to different Earths where crises are happening and collect the crisis energy from those Earths.
Right, right.
And create an anti-crisis.
Yeah.
So I guess Earths are capable of having their own multiversal crisis, but the conceit of a crisis is that it involves the multiverse.
And crisis energy?
Oh, yeah. Anyway, we'll see you guys next week with an all-new episode. Thanks a lot for watching. I'm Sal.
I'm Ethan.
I'm Ben.
So long. Hey, Scott, listen. You're not quite done with Death Metal. You could, theoretically, still have a scene where Tempest Fugonaut shows up with, like, a bunch of characters from these series that are like, we're here too. And then have, like, the Robin King show up and kill them. Like the Batmanified Darkseid, and he just Omega beams the hell out of everybody. Or Perpetua eats them or something. You could do it.
And Tempest is like,
still do it.
I'll go back. I'll go back to guarding the multiverse. Never mind.
Yeah, no. Yeah, it's 2 panels, man. Here it is. Tempest and the guys. 3 panels. Because it's one full page of Tempest Fugonaut. And he's like, behold, he's got his big dumb rod and all the characters from those stories. And they're like, ready to go. It's a really cool opening page. You can turn into a poster. Next page, Omega Beam. The whole bottom row of all the characters. And Tempest going.
Tempest just steps back into his portal.
No, he steps back into Perpetua, who's standing there like.
Oh, damn.
That's.
I was thinking Tempest would survive this.
Yeah.
I guess not.
No.